And it is Lando Norris, perhaps surprisingly, having had the discussions that we've had, Bernie Collins, Jenson Button, all weekend about McLaren, and this not being a track that favours them. He's come out and he's done that. I wonder, though, how much is that about the fact that it wasn't just one lap, it was them going round and round and round and able to get temperature into the tyres, which suits the McLaren?
There's a few things came together, I think, for the McLaren there. So we have talked about that all weekend. We've talked about how potentially the track doesn't suit them, potentially wet conditions doesn't suit them, and then he goes and puts it on pole and proves us all wrong. But some of that was, they've obviously worked on those things. They've worked on this track. They've worked on their warm-up. We know those things. Also, where they placed the car, he was the last person, apart from Leclerc, properly, and potentially Piastri, to properly get a lap in those changing conditions, and that helped.
Yeah,
that made the difference to where he finished.
He was miles ahead. He purple, and then whoa, little save at the end. I mean, it cost him, didn't it? Because it was only a yellow sector but it was still enough. It just shows you that the gap that he had to still be 3/10 ahead.
Yeah, he would have lost a lot out of turn 16, all the way down to turn 17. It didn't matter. He was already a few tenths ahead. So I just loved it when he was in disbelief. But I'm on pole. Did no one else get a lap in? It's like, no, you just did better than everyone else. So no, really.
Another big moment. Yeah, we saw that Oscar Piastri had an off following Charles Leclerc. No further action, we understand, between because of that and Isack Hadjar. Let's hear from the Australian who qualified in 5th.
So Oscar, was it you got caught by the yellows on the last lap?
Yeah.
So how was the car up until that point? I mean, where could you have been if you'd not come across them?
I don't know. There was a few things as well at the start of the lap that didn't go great from a operational point of view. I had to mess around with a few things that didn't quite go how I wanted. So I don't know how much time there was in there ultimately, and there's still 3 or 4 corners left to go. So difficult to say, but what I can say is there was more out there that we didn't get to use.
Points come tomorrow, though, and clearly the team have worked on this car to make it better on this track in particular, because a lot of people were writing off the team for this race weekend. So can you look to tomorrow and think there is something you can do? You can challenge the likes of the Mercedes, the likes of Max around here tomorrow in the race?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think we've got a good car underneath us. It seems to be working well in all kinds of conditions. So I think we can have a strong race tomorrow and hopefully make up some spots.
Thank you. Thanks, Oscar. Thanks.
Well, Andrea, congratulations on the pole position. The Grand Prix drivers today demonstrated why they are the best in the world. There was some amazing skill out there on a very difficult track, but it seemed that Lando picked up where he left off in Brazil.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. One of the most difficult circuits to run in wet conditions. Very slippery tarmac, low temperature, the walls. So well done to everyone, pretty much, for the session being relatively clean compared to what it could have been. And it's good for our team because we have pole position with Lando, and a little bit of a shame with Oscar that found a yellow flag in the final attempt, which would have been his fastest lap, and could have put him in the first positions on the grid as well.
Okay, yeah, I think they replayed somewhere where he was backed into maybe a position with Hadjar around the place, but that was because of the yellow flags. Without that, what, second row, something like that?
Yeah, I think the P3 was possible with Oscar. I'm not sure I should look at the details, but what's possible counts up to a certain point. P5 is still a good position. I think we have a competitive car this year. Vegas has been one of the places in which we have traditionally struggled in the previous 2 editions, so there's been an important investment in terms of understanding the technical and also the driving characteristics, trying to improve. So far good news, but obviously what counts is tomorrow, and we will try and do our best and finish on the podium with both cars.
Okay, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for much.
4th consecutive race that Oscar Piastri will start outside of the top 3. I mean, with regards to what happened there, it seemed like Isack Hadjar was up the inside. As we said, no further action from the stewards.
Yeah, so I actually went to grab a cup of tea from McLaren and bumped into Tom Stallard and the race engineer for Oscar Piastri, and he said that Piastri had lifted for the yellow flag that he could see ahead. So he'd done a lift. That allowed Isaac Hadjar to be alongside. So I think from their side, they think there's nothing doing with the Hadjar thing. It was just that Piastri was unlucky, got the yellow flag, lifted out of it, and then what we seen when it clips in is that the two of them were together.
I think, yeah, I'm very, very surprised, just like you. I think if he'd hit him, he would have got a big penalty. But didn't hit him. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because there wasn't actually a yellow flag at the apex anymore, but he didn't lift through the yellow flag zone, the first one he saw. So, yeah, I'm amazed he hasn't got a penalty as well. We've seen penalties for a lot less.
Yeah, and with regards to Oscar Piastri, just to bring you in on that one, you know, now obviously because of the yellow flag, he's down in fifth, and it was a session really where he needed to get ahead of his teammate, and close but no cigar again.
Yeah, like he said, Simon, that things were going against him. I don't know exactly what he means by that, but things were going against him out of sequence, perhaps, in the laps with Lando, but from quite early on in the session, it seemed like Lando just had the bit between his teeth. He wanted that pole position. I didn't think he were, stand corrected, I didn't think McLaren would have the speed, particularly in these conditions. And Lando he took that car by the scruff of the neck and did the business. And I think Piastri was always that little bit of a step behind. I'm not exactly sure whether that was pure driving or systems in the car just weren't to his liking, perhaps, and couldn't do anything about it. But I was really impressed with Lando there. I'm not sure that Oscar would have toppled Lando's performance, but certainly would have been higher up on the grid.
There we go. As you mentioned, he's taken the championship by the scruff of the neck over the last couple of race weekends as well as that lap, which was another brilliant display by the British driver. We're going to take a short break. More.
Lewis, what were the difficulties in general? What feeling did you have in the car, like driving on ice?
Yeah, very slippery. Obviously, the first set of tyres didn't work for us, and I was just struggling to generate the heat in the tyres for some reason. And it's a shame because the guys did such a great job. The car was feeling awesome in P3, and I really, really felt like we had good pace. And obviously, the rain came. Not a lot to say really from there, to be honest.
What happened in the last lap? Did something happen in timing, in your opinion?
No, I got yellow flags in the last corner, and going into coming into 17, those yellow flags. So I had to have a lift, and when I came into the line, it was red. So that was done.
Grazie.
If in doubt,
keep going.
Keep going
until they tell you to slow down.
Yeah, but I mean, whose fault is that?
Well, I guess you should know every regulation. It's really tricky as a driver, though. If you see red lights flash up in front of you, you think it's over.
Yeah.
But the timing line is obviously before that, and he knows that because he gets the time on the dash for the previous lap time. But I mean, when it's that tricky out there, there's so much going on. He's probably kind of happy it's over in a way, but I think he's lost focus on what is correct for starting the next lap.
Yeah, but he's got a race engineer and he's got a whole pit wall that know it's going to be very, very tight.
Yeah, but they don't know that he doesn't know.
No, I know, but
the timing line is different to the red light gantry.
Yeah, but from yeah. But
just to come in on that a little bit, I was trying to listen to it during commentary, and I went back and listened to it when Lewis went out because it was clear from radio there was a bit of confusion over the lights. So on the lap before, the lap where he's coming towards the line, the pit wall does tell him it's going to be tight for one more lap. Keep pushing to get another lap, I think is the phrase they use. So that's clear indication to a driver, one, that you're not safe if they tell you to keep pushing to get another lap, and two, that it's tight for the line. But they think it's possible, or they wouldn't tell you that. So he was told that earlier on in the lap. Then when he crosses the line, Lewis says, am I safe? His engineer comes on and says, no, keep pushing. And Lewis said, I got the light, I got the red light. And the engineer comes on again and goes, no, keep pushing. But at that stage, it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
So the difficulty, he was given, I didn't go back and listen to all of the laps, but he was given, before he got to the line, the information that it was going to be tight and he needed to keep pushing. Then when he got the red light, he assumed that maybe Ferrari got the timing slightly wrong, or he didn't make the flag, or whatever, because of Ant explained it really well there, and I think Jenson, there's a lot going on. as Jenson said. So he thought he didn't get it. He instantly lifts off. Then it's too late. As soon as the driver lifts off, there's no point in telling him to push again because you've already lost the lap. And it was... all of those things went together. But I think to defend the Ferrari pit wall, I think the information was there.
You're always defending pit wall.
I'm not always defending
the pit wall. But actually,
That's why this is
will you be defending Lewis then?
No. Because, it's a tricky one. And he's not the first one that's probably made this mistake. But, the timing line is a different line to the gantry. You should know that because the time comes up on your dash. We all get told what our lap times are when we cross that line. I
wonder what John Elkann might say. Who knows? Maybe he'll have some harsh words again. Let's take a short break on the...
George, in the press conference on Thursday, it sounded like you didn't think the McLarens would be there, and they've gone up there today. So can you just tell us about the surprise of that and what you were dealing with and why the car maybe wasn't what you thought today?
Well, I don't think that's a fair assessment. We were quickest in FP3, quickest in Q1, quickest in Q2. And I had an issue with the power steering in Q3 and qualified 4th. So, Lando did an amazing job, and these conditions are obviously very challenging. And ultimately, it always comes down to that last lap. That last lap is key. And unfortunately, in Q3, I had this problem. So, I'm not saying I would have been there with Lando. He clearly did an amazing job. But it was just a shame. But it went away from us at the key moment of the day.
What was the steering issue? Can you tell us any more about it?
I don't know, to be honest. I jumped out of the car 10 minutes ago, but just suddenly on one lap, I didn't hit a wall or anything, but the steering got really heavy. Every time I was sliding, I couldn't control. It was like getting locked in position. So on my fast lap, I was talking with the engineer, making sure it's even safe to drive, because when you're doing 230 miles an hour down the straight, and you think maybe the wheel might fall off or something might happen, it's a bit concerning, and it doesn't give you the most amount of confidence to send it around the corner. So as I said, I am disappointed. We look quick. It just didn't come together. But P4 is not a bad place.
Well, exactly, because the points come tomorrow. So in the race tomorrow, if you think you have got a good car and there's overtaking opportunities around here, have you got a good chance at the win?
I think we've got a chance. I think we'll be in the fight. I don't think there'll be a big pace difference between the three teams at the front. Can't say which way, like who's going to be the quickest or who's going to be the slowest, but I'll be surprised if the spread is more than a tenth of a second between the three teams. So that makes for an exciting race. And sometimes being on, at the back to start with, you can do something slightly different with the strategy. So could be okay.
All right, thanks.
There you go. Now you know the problem. Problem with the power steering, although not exactly what the problem is. However, is he a factor tomorrow, do you think, from 4th?
Yeah, I think he has a very good chance. The car has looked strong all weekend, like you said. If they can prove to the FIA there's a problem with that power steering, then they'll have an opportunity to change that overnight or to repair it overnight. And I think that given what they did last year, they can be in a strong position for this race tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. He's been on it all weekend, hasn't he? Yeah. He's been up there fighting for fastest in every session. So, yeah, I'm sure it's a bit frustrating. It's also not a nice feeling having a heavy steering when you're trying to catch slides and stuff. So hopefully they can sort that. And I think he's going to be a player tomorrow for the win.
Yeah, look, he might even get a place further forward as well. We don't know the outcome of Carlos Sainz going to the stewards, but it looked like, Anthony was saying at the Sky Paddock, do you think that could have been a penalty?
Yeah, I think so. When you see him come onto the track and there's another car coming fast at you, it seemed pretty clean cut. It seemed pretty black and white in terms of a penalty to me.
Yeah, but so did Hodges, in a way.
But it's not being investigated.
Yeah.
Got it.
Don't know. But no, he came on the track. Yeah. You could always say that I couldn't see the car coming. It was dark, but it is a tough one he got in the way. He
did get in the way. Okay, we'll see what happens there. Let's hear from Pierre Gasly. Delighted, we understand, to be inside the top 10.
Yeah, that looked like a really difficult session. How tough was it in the car?
It was absolutely mental. It's conditions that we don't get very often. I must say, on my side, I love it. It's you're sliding so much, you have so much adrenaline, you don't really know what's going to happen. You got to figure out, in very, very quickly. We didn't drive in P3, so going out in Q1 was, we knew we had limited amount of laps, and it's very tough, especially when you go through some places at 280 kph, and
you're having all these snaps and wheel spin, and it's pretty cool.
I mean, everybody seems to be full of adrenaline walking in here right now.
I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I know
sleep.
I'm done. Like yeah, it's been a long time since I've had that much. Probably Brazil last year, but also this track is like, you know, the last king before the finish line is not even a corner on the dry. Suddenly you go there on the wets and cold tires, everything, and you think twice, you know, before you get there, and all this high-speed section as well. Yeah, it's something.
You were quick in the dry here, though, as well in this car. So are there points available tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, try to take one session at a time and try to focus on our thing. Brazil, we managed to do points and Q3, and I'm glad we managed to get in the top 10 again today. So, yeah, it's tough. Overall, it's tough for us, but, you know, step by step, session by session, we managed to do a decent job. So we've got to keep going.
Well done. Thanks.
Thank you.
I love that he's taken a sort of perverse type of enjoyment out of that. I mean, could you have enjoyed this, or you just enjoy it when you've finished the lap and you've got around in one
when
piece?
you've got back to the pits,
Yeah.
And he's put it in P10, which is a lot more than what they would expect any other track this year. So, yeah, I've never felt like that before in these conditions.
Is this as difficult as it gets? A fast street track like this? It really is.
With no grip whatsoever. You know, 200 miles an hour braking into turn 14. You've got corners like turn 10 and 11 that aren't normally corners, and suddenly they are in these conditions. Lots of white lines crossing the track in all different sorts of directions, and yeah, the car's moving the whole time underneath you, and to see them balancing it through 14, 15, 16, it was a pleasure to watch. But I wouldn't have wanted to be in the cockpit.
But actually, you have to celebrate them. Let's finish with that, because it was only Alex Albon that went into the wall. There was so much great driving going on out there, and it demonstrates that they are the best 20 drivers in the world.
Yeah, it totally does. And I think all of us here before qualifying, we're looking at how damp it was underfoot, still raining, going, this is going to be a long, drawn-out qualifying. There's going to be a lot of stoppages. I mean, actually, we had none of that, you know. We had a slight delay to Q2 for that barrier damage. But fair play to all the drivers. They kept it clean. And we got to see some really impressive lap times there. We got to see some really impressive
Very
laps.
quickly, prediction for tomorrow. Who's going to win this race?
George Russell.
I'm going to go with Verstappen then.
OK, fair enough. Ted's Quali Notebook follows us here on Sky Sports F1. We'll be back tomorrow, and you can find out exactly who wins it. We'll be on air from 2:30. Lights out for the Las Vegas Grand Prix at 4 a.m.